For a long time here on JoBlo, I've been doing a series called The Best Movie You Never Saw. Every now and then, I'll choose a movie that viewers deem is not quite obscure enough. Fair enough, prompting the reply, "Saw it," in the comments. So this week, I decided to dig into a film that I truly think a lot of you haven't seen, but you should, called CALLER. This movie got a tiny VOD release in the summer of 2017, despite getting good reviews, including one by yours truly, and it sunk into a kind of semi-obscurity. That said, those who saw it loved it, and it was clearly seen by the right people in Hollywood, including Gerard Butler, who likely would have nailed the title role in a slightly bigger budget version, as he went on to establish a long-lasting partnership with the movie's director, Rick Roman, which has spanned 3 movies so far: Angel Has Fallen, Greenland, and Kandahar. Their collaborations are still going strong, with the two set to re-team on another Has Fallen movie, as well as a Greenland sequel. So CALLER stars Game of Thrones star Nikolaj Coster-Waldau as a regular guy living a comfortably middle-class life with his adoring wife, played by Lake Bell, and son. One night, after having a few too many drinks, he makes the ill-advised decision to drive home drunk, and when he's in an accident that claims the life of his best friend, played by New Girl's Max Greenfield, one of many kind of star-packed cameos in the film, he's arrested. In another bad decision, he turns down a plea deal which would have gotten him minimal jail time in a white-collar prison in order to risk a jury trial, and winds up sentenced to 16 months in the brutal Chino prison. Being a white-collar guy with no criminal background, he goes to the head of the Aryan Brotherhood, played by Jeffrey Donovan, from Burn Notice for protection. They agree to allow him to join their ranks if he works for them on their various schemes, although he has to help take the life of one of their enemies to get in. Initially, he's able to keep his head down, but during a riot, in the midst of an ill-advised act of machismo, he stabs another inmate to save a gang member that he's allied with. This wins him respect, but also a much longer sentence, with his initial 16 months being stretched to 9 years. On the inside, though, he rises through the ranks, going by the new name Money and becoming his prison shot caller. When he's eventually released, he's a hardened criminal, being monitored by a driven parole officer played by Omari Hardwick of Power, who knows he's cooking up another scheme. One of the really interesting things about CALLER is that it never really begs you to sympathize with Coster-Waldau's Jacob, or, of course, as he's called later on, Money. It's made clear that it's really his own fault he wound up in prison, having driven drunk and then refused a plea which would have saved him from his fate. It reminded me a bit of the old Tom Selleck vehicle, An Innocent Man, although Jacob's not in fact innocent like Selleck was in that movie. Yet you still naturally empathize with him, even when he makes horrible choices, such as affiliating with the Aryan Brotherhood. Even then, there's an escape, with the chapter head, an unnerving Jeffrey Donovan, somewhat sympathetic to his plight and advising him to keep his head down and simply do what they tell him, but his own machismo gets the better of him. Soon his 16-month sentence becomes a decade, and the film crosses back and forth between his eventual release, where he's now a high-ranking gang member, to his prison career. He's our hero, yet we never really root for him to get back to his family, as sadly they are better off without him, giving the film a palpable sense of tragedy. At the same time, CALLER works as a thriller, with brutal action scenes and an amazing supporting cast. There's not only Lake Bell, but also Jeffrey Donovan and Omari Hardwick. And there's John Bernthal as one of Money's best friends on the inside, plus Benjamin Bratt, Amari Cohen, and, best of all, a hulking Holt McCallany. He plays Beast, head of the Aryan Brotherhood of the prison system, and the film climaxes in a brutal fight between Money and the Beast, which ranks as one of the most badass, but also realistic prison fights in recent years. Of everyone, though, it's Waldau who dominates the movies, making Money something of a tragic hero, as while you may disagree with his choices, you also get how, in a lot of ways, he's on a descent into hell that he'll simply never escape. And at the end of the day, his main motivation is pure. He wants to protect his former wife and son. And what he goes through to keep them safe is one of the most hellish journeys we've ever really seen in a movie like this, as he really has to become a monster. Through it all, Waugh gives CALLER a gritty, stripped-down feel and earns the 2-hour-plus running time. He's making a serious crime drama here in the vein of Carlito's Way, American Me, and Blood In, Blood Out, but he keeps the pace tight and really doesn't skimp on the action. There's quite a bit of good carnage in this. In a better marketplace, this would have been an A-level studio release, with it fitting in nicely with 2 other prison-themed movies that Waugh made: The Better Than Average Felon with Stephen Dorff and Val Kilmer in one of his best later-day roles, and the underrated Dwayne Johnson vehicle Snitch, which, for my money, features his best ever performance. So, while it never really caught on in a huge way, Shot Caller is still relatively easy to find and a must-see if you like gritty action dramas. And boy, they do not come much more hardcore than this. So Shot Caller is, for my money, the best movie you never saw. And while you may have seen it, make sure to let us know in the comments whether or not this is a favorite of yours or whether or not this is one that you're just now hearing about and what you think after you finally watch it. I'm dying to know because I feel like it's a movie more people need to see.